Yo, yo, yo. What is happening, boys and girls? And everything in between. We're here for episode 003 of our latest and greatest Street Kings podcast, brought to you by me, Mickey Armstrong. And I'm joined today by my boy Dave.
What's
Dave
going on, man?
Hulk, also known as Hellboy these days. What's happening with you, mate?
Yo, just living life.
Welcome to the studio.
Yeah, this is awesome. Like I said from the jump, I thought this was an amazing thing that you're doing. Inviting racers from the street to the track, to photographers, to video makers. It's really going to blow up, I think.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
We were just talking before we went live there. Like, I'm really I'm not trying to blow up. If it did, it would be lovely, obviously, for everybody, you know. But my aim is just to meet as many people as I can. Just want to meet as many cool people. As I said, like when you go to a track, I don't want to be a stranger. I want to be able to go over to the guy's pit, talk to this guy, talk to that guy.
Yep.
As much as a family as we can, you know.
Exactly. It's always like a 5-minute thing, or like a 1 or 2 minute thing. You end up talking to the person that you haven't seen in a few months, you know, or in a few weeks, however the rental is or the race season goes.
Quick catch up.
Yeah, that's really usually how it goes. So doing something like this is epic.
Spring Nationals, boys. That's your first one. You going?
I gotta say so the way I've done it I've always went to the first event, and then I ended up using those first few practice runs really for my actual testing of the car. I actually really want to do a testing tune, really concentrate on learning the car. That's not learning on an exact event day. So if I miss the first event, I miss it. You know, it's all right. You know, I'm trying to learn the car and be better than what I was last year.
So that's the main goal every time, right?
Yeah, that's all we gotta do.
You know, and just for the people that don't know you have an EF CRX platform.
Correct. I have an 88 CRX. It's been a wild ride. I've had CRXs since I was 20 years old.
Yo, I love a boxy CRX. It's just like EKs, EGs, or they're old school. But you drive an EF or a CRX, you feel like you're in a dinosaur compared to them. You know? Like it's an old car, like, you know. But that's the beauty of it.
It's really an amazing platform, I feel. Mm-hmm. A lot of people just don't like it because it's very hard to work in. Meaning the actual engine space that you actually have. The wheelbase is the hardest thing. It's very dangerous also. You've had people crash at a high speeds of like 160, 170 because the wheelbase is so short.
Wow. I heard back in the day it was an old myth, like in Ireland people, they used to break in half. Is it true? CRXs when you hit them really hard?
I don't know.
Waves tail out.
I ain't trying to find out.
Well, you've hit one pretty hard. So
yeah, when I got into the accident, honestly...
You had a massive accident in your car.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people, when they take out these cars, you know, whether if it's a 200 horsepower or 800 horsepower, you always got to respect the road. Yeah. You know, no matter who you are, how fast the car is, we know the car is fast, but you got to respect that power on the road.
It doesn't matter how good of a driver you are, someone pulls out in front of you, you're fucking dead.
It really doesn't. And for that situation... I was going about 30, 35, and I got onto the road. I was going to a park and show meet right in Patchogue, and I looked out my side view. I saw no one, and before you know it, I was in third gear and I got rear-ended. Yeah.
So you were parked on the side of the road stationary?
I was stationary at first because I was letting the car cool down because at that time the car was always getting hot. So I ended up taking a
no Honda stuff these days?
Yeah, at that time, yeah. So I'm like, all right, let me just drive the other 3/4 of a mile down the road. I'm ready to go. I look over, I'm good. I pull out, I'm in third gear just chilling, 30, 35, maybe going to fourth, whatever. I get blasted from the rear. And it spun me and it made me hit a guardrail. I hit the whole front end. I think I blacked out in the process of actually the initial hit into the guardrail. But at the same time, I had to think about, be like, all right, I got hit from the rear, I spun around, how fast are these other cars going? You know, so I unbuckled myself and stumbled out of the car to the guardrail.
Someone on your shoulder, I think.
Yeah, it was a wild scenario.
And just for the people, I would say, who don't know, your car, full race car at the time.
Yeah.
like 10-point kids, 1 seat, 2 seats?
I have 2 seats. I usually always have 2 seats.
Anybody who doesn't know as well, check out Dave's Instagram. He's Dave Hellboy at the minute. So he used to be Dave Hulk. The car was green at the time, right?
Yeah, the car
camel green.
The car was like a camel green. The car was really like a stock white. What color it really was, maybe a championship white or something like that. I had that car, the car that was crashed, I had that for 11 years. I had that. It's just like, if I really went back on the story of getting that car and this and that, you just kind of laugh. Because that wasn't my first CRX. My first CRX was an 89. Oh, I had a black CRX. So I had a black CRX. I knew of the car. My cousin.
Black paint's hard to keep.
It
looks the best when it's clean, but fuck me, it's hard to keep.
The driver's side looked beautiful. The right side was it. But I loved the car. You know, I fell in love.
You can only look at one side at a time.
Yeah. That's it. So it's when I had the '89 CRX, I knew where it came from. Years prior, my cousin actually had that car, and I didn't know that at the time. And there's like a huge story behind that. But I ended up grabbing that car, and I had that car for about 7 months. Okay, and at that time, I actually met my old builder at that time when I was 20 years old, right around that time.
This is Barney built, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
builder of mine for a while.
So at that time, it was him and another person. That other person's family had a farm, a legit farm, and they worked out of a barn. Okay, so when I drove my '89 black CRX, I had my buddy Rob Snow in the passenger seat. We're slowly driving out of the farm. There's a little dirt and rocks, or whatever. Pull out, and he's looking behind the fence between the little cracks. He's like, "Yo, Dave, there's a CRX back there." I'm like, "No way." I back up, and I bought that car 2 days later, and I sold my car 3 days later to my best friend Matt Fries.
But that's all more Fries. Yeah, he's a legend.
Yes,
he's a good man. I want to get to know him better. Like, from what I've only briefly met him a couple of times, but he's a good lad.
He's an awesome,
great car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very
good vibes.
Awesome. So I ended up grabbing that car a few days later. Got it to my house. My parents just went on vacation to Cancun. I couldn't get it on the road, and like I said, I was 20. I was 21. Yeah, when I got that car, and
21 years old with a fucking CRX, the baddest man in the estate.
And the car had like a B16.
What was it? Was VTEC?
Yeah, it was so clean.
So hard to get, bro.
And like,
back in Ireland, they steal them shit. Like, there's none left. They were all stolen, burnt. Every one of them.
It was a beautiful car.
Great hand drive.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And
sorry to interrupt.
I know. I was driving my parents' car at the time. It was a Mercury Cougar, and I just got into an accident. I fell asleep behind the wheel on Sunrise Highway, and I didn't want to tell them. It took me when they got to the airport. Yeah. So I ended up getting that car on the road the next week, and I just had a blast with it, man. I put so much nitrous through that motor. Blew that motor up. I put like Yeah.
B16 training.
Yeah, B16 training. Short gears. I just had a blast. It was my daily driver. Driving in the snow, driving it throughout everything.
So that was the bug.
Yeah. It was an amazing. That's why I love CRXs. I can never see myself in another chassis to build a full blown out.
You answered one of my questions there. So
yeah. It's
so CRX till you die. Would you do a regular EF or just only CRX?
Only CRX. I've had opportunities to look at other cars and see other chassis after the accident, but I'm addicted to it. You know, I know everything and everything about them.
That's a fucking amazing platform. I wanted to ask you as well, when you're K-Series man, obviously. Yeah. So you have your first, the green car, you had to cut the hood open to fit the motor in?
Yeah.
Like a fucking hole, like...
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a big hole, like.
Yeah,
for people that aren't in the cars or people that don't really know, like most of the hood was missing in this car and the motor was peeking out of the car.
Yeah. You can get away with certain things when dealing with CRX and you're putting a K in it.
What? That's subframe issues?
So what it is that, believe it or not, on a stock EF hood, the hood dips downwards. It doesn't dip upwards.
Okay.
So it's already bound to happen that you got to cut something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when you put a skunk to center feed, it even raises up higher.
Okay.
And then that's the biggest issue. People can put spacers and all this other stuff, but I ain't trying to do that.
And your car, now, since it's been reborn, it has a wide front end, so it doesn't have to be cut?
So the hood, actually, I had bought off an old friend of mine that he ended up buying from somewhere down south. But it is a USDM style, but a JDM kind of look. It bumps upwards, it's all fiberglass. So that helped me out tremendously.
Wow.
The only 2 holes I had to make was for my my turbo pipe, and then I ended up wrapping the car. And
so your previous car, how long the original car, the Hulk car, how long were you building that for? Like put from like getting her to where she was to before she got accidentted on the side of the road there on the way to the car.
Well, I'm trying to think. About 1.5 years ago, I decided to go turbo. Or 2 years ago, go turbo, and it took me just a few months to really do it.
Front wheel drive first?
It was front wheel drive for obviously for the 10 years that I had previously, and then I put nitrous to it, and then right at that time I wanted to do a whole all-wheel drive conversion. And that
tell us a bit about the all-wheel drive journey.
So the all-wheel drive journey, I had a friend of mine that did his whole all-wheel drive thing by himself. He welded this and that, made his own whole rear trailing arms, etc.
CRV?
Honestly, I can't remember exactly what he did. He had a 4-door at that time. And
that's his car.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, this is pretty sweet. I'm like, I wonder if I could do it. So I ended up talking to a few.
I can do it.
Yeah, that's exactly how my head is. So I ended up talking to the right people. A few people from Cali introduced me to people from Florida. Brandon, we have shit up. That's his Instagram.
Yeah. I follow him.
He's a great dude. Very humble. Very.
He's got an EF. So yo, this is a motor. Has he put the motor in yet?
No, but that thing looks like an
artwork.
RP. Yeah.
Artwork.
Beautiful.
Yo, with the fucking the cut valve cover EF shit.
Yeah.
Nah, he's a good man.
So
maybe we can meet him one day.
Yeah. So he told me to go to a family-owned veteran business down in Florida, in Clearwater, Largo area, and what is now one of my sponsors, the S1 Bill.
Not a great company.
I can't say any. It's the amount of words I want to say. So much positive energy that comes from them is unbelievable. Their customer service is literally A1. They will sit down with you and talk to you on the phone for as long as you need to answer any question that you want.
It's priceless.
It's really, and that's what gets me, is the customer service. Because a lot of these companies that you deal with, they don't even want to bother you, or they feel like you're wasting their time.
Yeah.
Exactly, you're a burden. So
even though a lot of them are busy people, but whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I respected that. I didn't care what I paid. I didn't care anything. I'm like, oh, these people are great. They're really guiding me through this whole process.
Hard to find.
Yeah, and when you go on their site, literally, they have everything that you need for your all-wheel drive car in a click of a button. There is no other site that has all that. And if you do, you're bound to get onto their site.
What's the 2 different types they have? They have like a fancy shiny one, and then more of an industrial look. What's the difference?
I think it's really more a preference for the back part of the car.
So what you see hanging out?
Yeah.
The jewelry.
Yeah, and then the trailing arms, there's different styles. You got the Alpha 6, and that's what I run. You can actually, all the adjustments are on the trailing arm. You don't have to worry about getting an extra tow arm and this and that. But they have everything. Upper control arms, LCAs, drive shafts, everything. Literally from front to back. You give them a measurement of what you need for a drive shaft, they'll make it for you. Carrier bearing from basically like a stock looking one to beautiful work. So. And
have you heard of Trust Fab?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he
does amazing
differentials, right?
The rears.
The rear.
Yep.
Yo, said more artwork. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Oh
beautiful eye candy kind of stuff.
He's doing a lot for the all-wheel drive.
Yeah, he's doing a lot for a lot of people that are out there. I see stuff pop up with the algorithm that comes up on social media and stuff like that.
I never knew anything about him. A friend of mine, Suckerbucks, what's happening? He told me about him, says check it out. He said, you should have him on your podcast. And I said, alright, well, I'll check him, but I seen his work. I said, holy shit. And then I noticed how many people he did work for, like Sonic.
Yes.
I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that, maybe that'll be something that I'll end up upgrading in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I have a stock.
That's why I brought it up to you. You know what I mean? You're the man.
I have a stock rear wagon now. I was running an Element.
Your car's for the people, what? How many, roughly, horsepower?
Oh, my car was.
A lot of people don't like talking numbers.
No, I don't care. Like, I'm so blunt and so like.
I should be, man.
Yeah. So
it's all about the foot. It don't matter what fucking numbers you're putting down.
So I on the dyno I made, like, visually what you could see was about high 800s. Okay, but the problem is that the car was spinning on the dyno. So
800s.
Yeah.
4 wheels.
Well, we had a dyno on the front wheel.
Okay.
With the dyno that we were using. So I ended up with knowing how much more the car would have went. We were kind of just like doing like a guesstimation.
Yeah.
It was probably making a little over 900.
ASMR for the people.
Yeah.
That's a serious car.
I do plan on, breaking those 4 digits this year with the car.
The 1,000 horsepower club.
Yeah.
Well, your guts of it. You're right there.
Yeah.
I would say you're pretty much 1,000 horsepower.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And it depends on the weather and all. Like, you're going to get a few more horses. You got a good wind behind you.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables when coming to racing, and people don't realize that. Literally depending where you race, what state you race in, what time of year, the weather, etc. Coming down to the dew point and everything. Yep. It really is, and you have to adjust the car to that. And that's why when you deal with your tuner, like tuner's Jamie Marsh, and
I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah.
Jamie Marsh, that boy is a celebrity.
He's
doing big things. Big things.
He's phenomenal.
How is the experience with Jamie as a customer?
Honestly, it's phenomenal. He always, when he knows that I go to the track, he's like, "Yo, Dave, just send me your a video and your time slip, and then I'll talk to you. I'll give you a call in a few minutes."
He seems super intelligent too.
He is. He's very humble. Like he's very soft spoken. He's very blunt with you and tells you, "Hey, this is what you got to do. This is what I want you to improve on, etc." And that's it.
I see you rock the big Marsh tuning sticker across the bottom of the windshield as well.
So for sure.
Rapping. And I see he tunes for fucking everybody.
I know.
Sonic. He just went with my boy recently. Built the Win Slick.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he just tuned his car. It's all-wheel drive as well.
Yeah. I'm telling you, he's. I don't know anyone that doesn't know him.
Yeah.
So.
No, he's phenomenal stuff. I just watched the video on YouTube. There, he was out with Sonic in Vegas.
Yeah.
They're doing what's it called, banging gears or something, some shoulders.
Yep. That's a huge platform.
You need to get out there, boy. That shit would suit you.
Yeah, man, if I just had a lot of money.
People don't understand motorsport. You can be a fucking dancer, you can be a swimmer, you can do whatever you want, and people will support you, But with motorsport, you can be the best fucking driver in the world. If you ain't got a big bankroll or someone behind you with a big bankroll, you're doing that.
Yeah, and honestly, it's
you got a pit crew, you got service, you got travel, you got to bring the car, you got transport, you got
there's a lot of
and then it breaks every time you turn the key. And then the liability, the insurance, the fucking you're gonna die. It's fucking
so true.
It's a lot of stuff, man. People don't understand.
There's a lot of working parts. A lot of working parts when you do anything.
Like I see you posting. Like I always laugh at you. Like you say when you're building a car, you're like, I'm on the fucking noodle dad.
Yeah.
I'm not, and you literally scrimp down your life to fucking suit the car, you know what I mean? And I do the same thing too. It's like, how many parts can I get this week? And
it's like a sickness.
It's worse.
Yeah. It's but you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world. I want it.
And I would want if I have kids one day, I want my kids in it too, because you don't have time for any other illnesses.
Yeah.
Because it takes everything away,
It's like, do we sometimes question ourselves? Be like, hey, like, what are we doing?
My mother and father never liked it, and still to the day they don't like it, And,
it's kind of wild you bring that up, because from for me, starting at a young age, I got
hard to get the support.
I love the car since I was 16 years old, honestly. And when I got my first CRX, like I said, when I was like 20 years old, and I think my parents always felt like it was just a phase, and that's what I heard a lot of people like. Oh, he'll just grow out of it. It's just a phase. Yeah. He'll go on to something better, this and that, whatever. Over time, and them seeing the dedication,
fit their plan for you either.
Yes, and them seeing the dedication and the time and the amount of love that you really have for the sport, they respect it to 100%. So, like my mom and dad, they come out and they come and watch me race. Yep. They rent out the Airbnb. They'll go to the hotel. They'll spend the time with me. My dad will always ask me, "Hey, Dave, what do you need?"
Yep. Complete flip around.
Yeah, it's wild, and they cheer me on.
I had my mother and father come from Ireland to the track.
Yeah,
bro, and I never ever could imagine my father standing because I never really got on with my father when I was younger. We were always fucking fighting and shit,
yeah.
And normal Irish household, punching the head of each other. But so it was mad to have him there supporting, cheering for you,
Yeah.
Because they see. It's not just burnouts in the street after a while, you know what I mean? It's fucking, they see the dedication, they see the time, the money, the passion that goes into it, and then that's where you get the flip around.
Exactly. Yeah.
But only, like I said, once you get the family support, then it's still hard to get that finance support.
Yeah, you gotta know your limits at certain points, and it's okay to not go to every event, because, yeah.
Don't tell them. Don't tell my wife that. I tell her it's not, you can't miss them.
I am the same way, but you know what? The way I am with myself, I always figure my shit out. Yeah. I really do. I'm like...
No, you do. You have to live within your means. Right?
Yeah. You ramen noodles. I'm saying $2. A few extra gallons of diesel for my truck. I'm spending at least
a big fucking truck.
I'm spending at least almost $200 just to go to ACO. ACO and back, or hopefully that. And
hoping nothing, like the trailer doesn't break, the car doesn't break.
Yes.
The car that you're racing doesn't break. The fucking your girl who's coming with your car doesn't. It's like you know what I mean. And then when you get there, then you all gotta get food.
Yeah.
It's the day.
Where are we gonna stay? Me and my boy Freeze. We'd be like, hey, we're gonna stay in the trailer. We can't afford a hotel.
You stay in the trailer.
Yeah.
You have an enclosed.
I have an enclosed trailer.
Yeah.
And
it's nice. I've seen the picture. I've seen the person.
It's all right. I gotta spice it up, so it's more of my liking.
Oh, look at your car.
Yeah.
You'll get there, man.
Yeah. As I'm driving down the road, you see the trailer going like this, and the car, the trailer is holding the trailer together.
But trailers, the MVPs, I think, in a race sport, because people don't realize how much the work the fucking trailers have to put. Like my boy Platinum's mad. He goes with trailers and the fucking wheels be flapping. It has no covers. The Platinum stop. He doesn't care. And then he makes the shit work. But if I was me, the shit would fall off. But some people get away with that.
Yeah.
You have to do what you do. You just get
it's an investment. It's really an investment, and how bad do you want it, really? Yeah. That's really what it comes down to.
But you just make it work.
Exactly.
Whatever the fuck it takes, you just make it work.
Yes. Yep.
Like even if the wheels are flapping, you get that shit going.
Keep driving.
Just keep going.
We gotta get to point B right now.
Speaking of the track, what do you like? I don't notice you're not much of a street racer. Like you want to? I don't know if you.
So back in the day when
that's a bad thing.
When I was younger, I would do little things, little street races, but they weren't for like the amount of money that they do now. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of
$20 grand, fucking.
So, but I respect it.
A lot of hustle too. Some of the cars, they know they're winning, and they're taking the money off.
I respect all the guys that are out there racing, and I really do. I just want everyone to come home safe at the end of the day. That's really what it comes down to, and that's how I think of it.
It's the most underrated blast of all.
Yeah, and that's how I think of it. Because I've seen people crash. I've seen people lose everything.
Been there yourself.
And my buddy Lance, he had an '87 IROC Z. His Instagram is Team Shitbox, right? And he lived right down the block from my house. We always ride our bicycles together before he was, to where he was at that time, He got into an accident out in Jersey, and it was the most wildest thing I've ever seen. Motor and training on one side of the road and on the other side of the road engulfed in flames. You know, so like
fire too. That's the worst nightmare. I was just saying, I want to get a fire extinguisher. Do you got a fire extinguisher in your car?
No.
None of us do, bro.
You know what? It's more like get the.
I gotta make the movement. Let's get fire extinguishers.
Yes, or getting a.
I'm looking at it. Then looking for it.
Yeah. You know, it's just seeing stuff like that and seeing those people crash on Sills Road over by like Tank area.
You said his motor and gearbox was on the other side.
Yeah, it was on the sidewalk. He was facing the opposite way, and the whole back end of the car was on fire. You know, like seeing stuff like that, you
I see Camaro, right?
Yeah,
it's a Chevy Camaro.
Yeah, so it was iconic.
Yo, rear wheel drive cars are different though.
Yeah, it is, but also anything can happen to any kind of car.
Sure.
You know, you blow on slick, and then the car ends up right or left. You know,
or the fucking ball joint collapses, or fucking drive shaft, anything.
Yeah.
We do. It's funny, like this weekend, what we do with life, even when you're driving to work in the morning, I'd be fucking in the traffic flying, I'm one of them dickheads, sorry.
Yeah.
And, and you trust these people in these moving objects coming at you at fucking 60, 70, 80, 100 miles an hour to not hit you, and we just expect everybody just to in this harmony and this, but one day, some days, the beat doesn't go right. And
exactly, and again, like all the guys that street race, kudos to them. And again, I just want everyone to come home safe. I don't want to see that, hey, this person passed away for racing this and that, or this person got hurt.
It does make us look good.
I've seen it. It's just I don't want to put myself in that kind of situation.
It makes the community look fucking reckless. People getting hurt.
I rather me go to a track and God forbid if something happened there, it's more in a controlled.
So you got paramedics on scene.
Correct.
Fucking train people to know what to do.
Yeah. So
you have much quicker response time.
Fucking
you're on the Bell Parkway upside down.
Yeah.
It's gonna take an hour or two for the house to come help you. So just to go back to you, sorry to keep maybe bringing it up, but your accident with your green car, that was, I wouldn't say the death, but that was the end of the hope for you, right?
Yes, it was. When I got into the accident, I remember just looking back at the car. I'm like, that's it. Like everything I worked for the last 11 to 12 years, it was just like an emotional time for me at that time.
But because you built the car the way you built it, if you hadn't built it that way, you probably wouldn't be here today, right?
Yeah.
Because of what was in the car, the 10-point case, the seats,
the
harnesses.
Honestly,
just the safety.
Wear your seatbelts. I'll be blunt with everyone. Wear your seatbelts at any point. I don't care how cool you are or how far you're gonna go. Wear your seatbelts. Whether if you have a 5-point,
solid
4-point,
advice,
or anything, you wear your seatbelt. I don't care who you are, how old you are, how young you are, how cool you are, whatever.
Yeah.
I was in I had my Turkey seat. It's a 16.
How much in a rush you are? I don't put my nose in. You're in a rush, you're but then you start rushing, it's all over.
Yeah, and it could cost you your life, or you permanently damaged, or whatever the case is, But I gotta say, the 3 things I think that saved me from that accident and to help me was having my seatbelt on, nice and tight, being in my Turkey seat because it kept my hips aligned. Honestly, on how tight that
Turkey seat, for people that don't know, that's a metal seat.
Yes.
Full one-piece.
Correct.
Metal seat.
Yep, and it's usually bolted to the frame of the car, or...
Did you have a pad in yours, yeah?
Yes.
Some people rock them with none.
No. Yeah, I can't do that. I couldn't do that.
Just wear thinner socks, bro. Don't worry about
it. So, what was the other thing? Is that the parachute bar. That's what took the biggest impact, honestly.
So that bar, that's connected to a chassis underneath?
So mine actually went from...
Is it like a tow bar?
So how mine was, it was like from left to right, from like tubular, frame to frame, from left to right to the back. And it was just like, we had a plate welded to that square tubing in the back, and another one, and then just a loop, like a J-bend. So the lady hit that corner, and if I didn't have that, it would have been a lot worse.
Damn.
And that's what helped. That's really what helped me.
And it was a 10-point. I'm saying
it was a 10-point. Yes, it was certified from NHRA to.
Glad you brought that up too. NHRA. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what is you're a certified driver from NHRA?
Oh yes. Yo,
that's cool as fuck.
It's. And
then make
cool.
a little kid in you go.
Yeah.
You're a certified race car driver.
Yeah. it's definitely a cool and humbling experience when you get to that level and you're able to experience that. You know, now you have an NHRA license, and you have to prove to them that you can control your car and that you can do what you can with your car. You can, you know, you show everyone that you're as fast as what you are, and this
no
license,
bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So
like
that's awesome.
It's like a fucking, you know, it's real documentation to say
Yeah.
I am what I am, you know.
Exactly.
And
So
that's
I
amazing
always
stuff.
thought that was epic.
And so after that car went, now you changed your name.
Yes. So when I got into the accident, I made a few phone calls at that time. I went to the hospital. I had a few injuries. Because when you're in an accident, your blood is flowing, you don't feel anything.
Adrenaline kick.
Adrenaline, everything. But I did sustain...
What was the impact like for you? Like, you remember much of it?
I just
That
remember...
bang, serious,
I
right?
just remember getting hit, and then I think, like I said, I think I blacked out, and then I felt myself go into a guardrail, and then I just unbuckled my seatbelt, and
You were able
stumbled
to
out.
get it?
Yeah. But the experience was kind of wild. I'm like, what just happened? You know, I was kind of like just blown away. You know, and I'm like, I only got to go to like another light and a half down the road, and I'm there. You know?
Still thinking about getting to the car.
So
Shit, I'm gonna miss the fucking car show.
Yeah, exactly. So I got into the ambulance.
Crazy,
Because
right?
I got into the ambulance, and I knew mentally, like, hey, I'm probably not feeling any of the pain right now because of the adrenaline. So once I got into the ambulance, got to the hospital, I started feeling a lot of pain. The next day it got worse. It's not. But best bet, and I'm not lying about this. I remember sitting in the hospital with a neck brace on, and my two older brothers came. They got a phone call. My parents were actually in Cancun again at that time.
Go ahead, parents. Tell for something. In the real Mexico.
Yeah. So they came, and best bet that I was on my phone trying to look for a chassis. You know, I was trying to look for another CRX.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
hurt.
Like,
You're hurt.
Yeah.
You're fucked. I'm on the hunt.
I'm like, I gotta figure this out. You know?
That's how we know we're sick, right?
Yeah. Something wrong with me. So,
in the best way possible. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
So, at that time, I was released that night. It was that night. I actually went to my family's house because my brothers live around my parents. So they wanted to make sure that I was good, so they stayed by me and with me really at my parents' house. That next day, my buddy Andy and his girl, Andy is my partner for my business that I have.
FCC NYC.
That's Louis.
Okay.
That's Louis. So Andy is FC Andy.
I get the two Instagrams. I know the people, but I get the two Instagrams mixed up.
Yeah, so Andy came by with his girl and just saying, he's like, oh, you home? Like, I want to stop by and see how you're doing. You know, at your parents. I said, oh, yeah, come by. So I come by and he's like, oh, let's go outside. He's like, it's a beautiful day out. I said, all right, cool. Sounds good. So I'm stumbling, like, crippled ass, go outside, you know. And we're just chilling in my parents' driveway. Did I think it was a little weird? Yeah. So...
Put your fucking heads up your hole.
Yeah. So I'm looking up the block. I'm like, what is that? And I see
I know that silhouette.
Yeah. I see a red CRX on a trailer. I'm like, how weird is that? Yeah. You know, like, is this a sign? Like, I literally said, I think in one of my videos, like, God's telling me a sign right now.
I wonder if it's for sale. Yeah, that's the first thing you thought.
So I see this red CRX on a trailer, and within 24 hours, I'm totally serious, 24 hours, a few friends of mine came together, put money together, and bought me an 88 CRX.
God bless everyone, man. That's fucking phenomenal.
I appreciate the people that were involved at that time to do what they did, and also shout out to All Motor Freezy, you know, Matt Freeze, you know, Andy, Louis, which is FCC, and a few of those guys and Sam Rizzo, he now lives in Florida.
FCC, NYC. When I went to my first ever street race, he was flagger. And then, like, I went to the second ever street race, he was flagger. And I'm like, is this guy like Mr. I thought he was running all day, because every time he was the fucking flagger.
Yeah. Louis is a great legend. Guy. He's so funny and...
Yo, he's very, like, when he's there, like, he's born for that shit.
Yeah. He's like, Dave, put your foot to the floor, go.
Yo. Like, if there's anything that makes me feel more like Fast and Furious, it's him.
Yeah.
No, he's like, just, when he's not there, I'm like, fuck's sake.
And when I'm bringing him with me in the truck and this and that, he's like, let's go, come on, put the floor to the truck. Yeah, for the truck for us to get there quicker. Like, let's chill. Let's
serious, bro. You know, you get that, like, some people when they're at the Super Bowl, or that's his fucking Super Bowl, that's his, and like me, and that's why I know how much it means to him, because it's the same for me. Exactly the same. And same for you.
Yeah, I love it. And going back to getting the car, like I said, I appreciate all the people that were there at that time that did chip in. I do appreciate that for the kindness of what they did.
Not many people left in the world like that, right?
Yeah, and it was very emotional for me, honestly, like mentally and physically and just really everything, because it was a lot.
Gives you more faith in the world, I'm sure, you know, as well. And especially when you're feeling so down in the dumps after what just happened, and then you're like, holy fuck, these people really care about me.
And I'm looking at the car, you know, and finding out that I am the second owner of the car. You know, the original miles was like 81,000 original miles. You know, or some even lower than that, I think. And I just it was, I already had the vision. Once I saw the car, I had the vision. I knew what I wanted it to look like. You know, I knew the style.
I'm a sucker for red myself.
I knew the style, right? I'm like, do I keep it?
The body was clean too, right?
No, I had the quarters cut out.
But like, like the floor and all, because usually quarters is nothing. My quarters have rust. Fuck it.
Yeah, it was.
Rust is lighter than carbon fiber, you know.
Yeah.
Rust the whole one, guy.
So it was seeing the vision of what I wanted the car to look like, not even with the color of the car. What I wanted in the car and how I wanted the car to look like was there. I didn't know, people were like, oh, you should do V2 or whatever, you know, Hulk, V2. I said, no.
I said to you, do Phoenix, because you're roasting the ices.
Yeah, so I said, I can't. I think I got to push that to the past, believe it or not. You know, I think that this is, a new chapter and a new beginning to something great.
It's a beautiful thing.
I was talking to my brother, and my brother Frank, actually, one of my older brothers, and he was like,
Frank?
Yeah, what's good? So he was like, Dave, why don't you call it Hellboy? I said, why? He said, do you know the background behind Hellboy? I'm like, no. You know me. Straight on the phone, yeah. So I'm looking like that, and he's like, it's a rebirth. You bring people back from the dead. So I said, yo, that's
I
epic.
didn't even know that until he told me.
That's epic. So that's what I'm going to do. So I thought it was the perfect symbol to show me coming back out. You know, I drove that car. It was stock. The car was driving. I think I had to put a belt on it and a new battery. I think I spent $300 on the car.
So for the people who don't know, I found out because Dave had the accident. Like, I didn't even know Dave. Never met the guy in my life. The fellow who was building my car at the time, Barney built. He was working with Dave, and he posted the story of what happened. Fucking, I start following the story. I start reading into it. I'm like, holy shit! And I seen the pictures of the whole car ruined. Yeah. And you got hit in the back quarter, right?
Yeah, the back driver rear.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, and so I'm reading about the fucking crash, and then all of a sudden I see his boys all chip in and his family come together, and they get him, and I see the video of him standing outside the house and the car rolling up the street. I'm like, holy fuck! Yeah. And I was like, this is amazing. I commented on it, I'm pretty sure. I didn't even know you at the time. I'm like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? I was like, that. Like, what didn't even happen to me, and I was fucking goosebumps. I mean, I'm like, I feel so good for this, man. You know?
It still gives me goosebumps, even looking back at that time. And how I felt at the time, I'll never forget it. It restored my faith in humanity too. So yeah, a lot of people, honestly, it got blown up on TikTok with different platforms and this and that, and
so that's how I actually found out about you. Otherwise, I don't think I would have knew that you even existed. So it was a beautiful thing, you know. So it just shows you from bad shit a lot of good shit comes as well. You know.
Correct.
Sometimes I don't know. You have to make yourself really uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Exactly. That's literally, you got to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to make things work out.
And I think the sooner you learn that, you know, the quicker it gets better for you.
Correct.
You know, but we're always trying to make life a little easier for ourselves, trying to find the easier route, the faster route. Fucking, I know I'm impatient as fuck, like especially with the car. You know, I used to be
that way, and
you want shit done yesterday.
Yeah, I used to be that way, and then I understood how long it really takes, and
it's the process. You have to, and then I never really loved the process because I don't want to. I love the driving.
Well, that's the thing. You have to respect the process before you get that outcome, and that's when you start respecting the outcome because you understand the process. That's what it really comes down to.
And I never had that, you know. So I used to get upset at people all the time, and then I realized, you know, I have to take responsibility, you know, and I have to fucking realize that, you know, a lot of this is, it's whatever happens to me in my life, I accepted that, and that's the boundary that I set, so I have to fucking live with it, you know.
Yeah.
All you can do is just fucking try and be better every day, you know.
Yeah, that's literally what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up about fucking. I wanted to ask you DNA Motorsports. How's that going?
It's going good. As of right now, we are actually trying to look for a different location because we were doing a month-to-month kind of a spot thing. And long story short, that person that we were grabbing the spot from needs a spot back.
Oh, shit.
So we have to just, we're in the lookout for trying to find a bigger place. I never had a shop. You know, it was my first thing. It was like, it's a little...
We were saying about the process and this
and
that.
So I totally understand it.
Understands the process now because he has his own, doing his own shop for a while.
And people ask me, it's like, yo, Dave, what do you do for fun instead of racing this and that? I'm like, I work. He's like, how's that fun? I'm like, I love doing this.
Yeah.
Like, it
is work.
Like, but I love it. Yeah. And I love hustling. I like making money, you know, and I don't party. I don't do all that other stuff, drink and this and that. Mm-hmm. It's my therapy.
This is your part. This is your therapy. That's the best way to put it.
And for DNA Motorsports, DNA stands for Dave and Andy. And like I said,
it's on pause right now. Then?
In about a week, it's gonna be on pause.
Okay.
But one thing that Andy brought up to me, which I thought was a pretty sweet idea, was doing a mobile mechanic, and we'll do that.
You know, something I always thought about too was a mobile tire guy. You know, if you had a fucking tire machine in the back of the van, you know, but and then it's tough. Anything like that is all seasonal. It's fucking you have to.
Yeah, it's just like with everything. Sometimes you don't know how it's gonna work out until you try it.
There you go.
You know, and I'm willing to take that risk. You know, I'm willing to take any kind of risk as long as I see that you got to keep your mind straight, and your partner needs to keep his mind straight to see the actual outcome of what it could be.
And you have to remember, it's okay to fail. It's not okay to give up.
Yeah, and if you don't fail, you're not trying hard enough. That's it.
There you go. It's a fucking great statement there.
So true.
No, but you have to keep going. And you sold the ramp, or you had a lift in?
I have a lift in there right now, and yes, I did.
I didn't even get I was going to post it, and I forgot to post it, and I went to post it the next day, and it was sold. I was like, oh,
yeah,
fuck.
so I did sell it. I got it down payment already, and it's going to get pulled out a few days prior to us leaving.
You built almost semi-built a car. You did a red car like mine?
Yeah, so I started working on that car, and I won't bring up any other names, but the owner of the car, his name is Travis, and he had another person take the motor out and do what he needs to do with the motor, and with the unforeseen circumstances that he didn't get anything back.
Damn. It's a lot of fucking around in this fucking
work. So, but what he wanted, I painted his whole entire engine bay. I spent about freaking 12 to 15 hours stripping it, sanding it, everything. And I got down to the black, to the original red and like gray paint, really, like the primer, because he had a black, spray paint gold, and then the actual red OEM, and then obviously the primer. So I had to get it down all the way down. And it's not just like you just doing a firewall, you're doing everything. You know?
Did you smooth off the holes and all that?
I didn't. He didn't really. I don't know if he really wanted that, but I didn't suggest it at the same time.
I like it. Sometimes I like it, and sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes I think it looks cheap.
Yeah.
Because then it's not. Oh yeah, no.
I understand.
Like I don't know, like a Euro. Like back when we have Euro style, and everything's smooth. The door handle, everything's smoothed up, and it kind of reminds me of that. And I'm like, I like it a wee bit, but I don't know. It's whatever you're into, right?
Exactly. It's
whatever floats your boat. That's the beautiful thing of
it. Yeah. As long as you like it, doesn't matter who else, what anyone else thinks. I don't care. You know, as long as I love it, I love the way it looks. I like the way the car runs, this and that, whatever, the power wise, etc. As long as I like it, that's all that matters. But when working on that car, I've done engine bays before, really my own and another buddy of mine. And when I came out with that one, it was beautiful. You could eat off of it. It was just the black version of your car right here. You know, it was.
He came in and he says, "Oh, your car's so clean." I said, "It's not. It's dirty."
So
something wrong with it.
I suggest a lot of things to him. I'm like, yo, we gotta change that suspension, we gotta do this and that, and we did everything.
K-tune, bro. Everybody told me don't buy K-tune, don't buy. You know how people are. Everybody has fucking bullshit to say about something. And it's sad because most of the people who tell you don't do this, they've never bought it, they've never owned it, they never did it.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about hearsay. That's really what it is.
But the K-tune, it works. The reason I bought it was Cedric fucking Billinghurst. When I first started following him, he had his blue, the blue EK with the all-wheel drive.
Okay.
K-Series all-wheel drive. He was at Sunday Funday one day. He was fucking killing everybody. That was the first time I ever seen it.
Okay.
And what was the reason for that?
That you like the
K-tune.
The K-tune, yeah.
He put up a fucking video of a coffee sitting on the floor, and he's hitting potholes, and a cup of coffee sitting on the floor, and it didn't move.
Oh wow!
And I went, I want that fucking suspension. So when I got it, I fucking went out searching for potholes, and that shit works, man.
Wow!
It works really well. Everybody's gonna get BC and this, and that, but BC's great too.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's
What would you recommend for suspension? What do you run with the CRX? Yeah, like a drag.
What do I even run? I forget sometimes.
I'm sure, right? But that's all
I actually have to change out the rear springs because I want the car to squat. And
so the Carolina style?
I want the car to squat and kind of stay down and gradually come back up. A lot of racers, they want that hard suspension.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it's to keep everything stiff. But in an all-wheel drive car, you want that back to dump. You know, and you want it to gradually come back up. You know, you don't want it to bounce up and then pop up and then it just gets reckless, honestly.
Yeah.
And I've had that issue.
Funny how?
Yeah. And if you look at some of my videos, you'll see that. You'll see the car like skeeting side to side.
Yeah,
because of that.
I seen some of your earlier videos. You leaving like fucking drifting almost.
Yeah. When I do like the no prep, they do the no prep in Riverhead.
Mm-hmm.
They do that over there, the 8th mile. That'll be
Oh, your car's insane, man. It's sort of like
I love it, and I know the 8th mile that we do in Riverhead. I know it's not the track and this and that, and some people it's like, oh, it's not realistic.
It's race street, not track.
Yeah. And
it's like an airfield or something, right?
It is, yeah. It's an abandoned airstrip.
I've never done it, but I would.
Yeah, it's definitely fun, and you definitely meet a lot of people from both sides of the world, domestic and import. There's not a lot of Hondas, honestly. I think there's maybe 2 or 3, and that's it. You know, and that makes me one of them. You know, everyone else is domestic and whatever.
People underrate us in their Hondas, but there is a lot more these days. People are starting to understand.
Yes.
So, like you, I've liked Hondas forever. You know?
It's like in my blood in a way.
You had the B series in the old back in the day, the Black CRX. You went from 160 horsepower to 800, or do you had a bit of a transition?
So when I had the white car, or the 91, the one that I just got into the accident with, when I got that car, I actually made it was turbo. All right. After a little bit of time of blowing up motors and this and that, I'm like, let me build a motor that can take a little
pistons, rods.
Yeah. So I made, I think like 490 on like 9 or 10 pounds. On like 9 or 10 pounds, something like that, right? I enjoyed the car for maybe like a few weeks, and I got tired of it and felt very discouraged because I couldn't get the car to work right. And I actually posted the car up for sale, and I'm like, let me just pull the motor out. Let me sit on a shelf for a year. It's funny that I talk about this though, because I don't really think of it until a situation like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I posted the car up on Craigslist for like fucking $3,000 or $4,000. The whole motor, the car, everything, right? And that's cheap, you know.
By today's standards,
2 or 3 days later, I'm like, you know what? Let me pull this down. Let me just pull the motor out. I'll sit on the shelf. I'll sell the motor, and that's it. I pull the motor out. Right after I pull the motor out, I end up cutting the passenger side mount out. I'm like, you know what? I'm going K. That's what I'm doing. Once you cut that mount out for our cars,
you can't go back.
You can, but it's way too much work. Yeah. So that's what I did. I bought what is it? The Hassport conversion kit.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that 2 days later.
Shit's the Hassport. I got them too. Shit's sick.
I cut it out, and I'm like, there's no going back now. So
I'm in.
I put a K in it, and I fell in love since then.
All motor first?
Yeah, it was like a
200.
Yeah, it made like 220, I think it was, and then I.
Did you mess? Sorry to interrupt. Did you mess with fuel at all? Or was
all so with the setup that I have now, I am running on C85, okay. So that's
can.
Yeah. You buy them in
tins
cans.
For the people in Ireland.
Yeah, so you buy them in 5-gallon containers and whatnot, and I feel like it runs better with it. You know, like I said, everyone has their own.
How's that shit smell?
Oh, great. You know,
right? I love the 85 too.
Yeah,
I actually wouldn't go back to pump gas 93 because I love the 85 smell. So
yeah,
it's great.
It's very potent. You know,
and your car doesn't smell like a regular car when it pulls out.
What
the fuck is that?
Exactly. Yep. But going back to doing the whole K thing, I just I went